PSV though.
No, most certainly on this kind of form, but one has to suspect that all three of those teams won't come here and necessarily be quite as brave as Huesca are being today. Now I am using the brave adjective as Dembele goes into the area. Still 24 minutes plus what the referee adds on in this game. 6-2 it currently stands. I've got to say, I wouldn't bet my house on it remaining this way. Another opportunity for Piqué to come forward, this time joined by Lenglet, but it's taken short. The corner back to Rakitic. He lifts it across to the far post, and there he is, Lenglet. He was the target. I think I pronounced Lenglet about 3 different ways already. He's only been on the field 2 minutes. And there he is, the new signing to bolster Barca's rearguard. Maybe 6-2 ahead, but Ernesto Valverde still organising things out there. Still ensuring the team playing the way he wants. Now Huesca on the ball with Moi Gomez dropping back. In the end, Axel Werner forced to send it long. Touch from Cucho Hernandez, the main central target for any long balls from Huesca. Samuel Longo now off the field as Piqué produces a marvellous pass out wide for Sergio Roberto, who turns away from his marker, but the pass intercepted, and Huesca on the ball once again. Moi Gomez it is, back to Luisinho, into the feet of Damian Mosto. And this is where Huesca are enjoying themselves, when they're able to spray the ball around like this. That's a pass for Pulido in a very advanced position. Into the corner goes Miramon, back to Pulido. Probably wasn't expecting him to find himself up in the attacking penalty area too often this afternoon. First time we've seen him that far forward, and Barca deal with the danger.
And not often that a team 6-2 down at the Camp Nou will be sending a centre-back forward like Jorge Pulido found himself on that occasion.
He was racing back there in case that ball was controlled. Coutinho had a good head start on him, back in position. Looks like he may have pulled across to the right side here, Pulido, given the... Maybe that's why he was afforded the time to move forward. Maybe Leo Franco has told him, move out to the right, and you can start pushing up almost as a wing-back here. Started in the centre. Semedo looks to have taken up a central position alongside Echaita. Pulido at right back. Here's Dembele. Semedo across. Just pushes the ball behind for the corner for Barca. And there's the skills from Dembele that, as you mentioned, Duncan, have seen the doubts. I was going to say erased, but certainly
almost.
You think he's now truly being adopted by the Barca fans as one of their own?
I think it's a very fair point to make, that had this been a Cantera player who come up through the ranks and was performing for the first time in the first team this season, the fans would be extremely excited. They'd be talking about the new prospect from the youth system. Not the new Leo Messi, I'm not going to go that far, but certainly there'd be a real excitement around the Camp now that they've discovered another diamond in the rough. And the fact that they paid 100 million for him, which was all out of context, because it was because they got paid 220 million for Neymar. So we're talking silly money. We're talking amounts that really have no context. You can't say that they wasted 100 million on Dembele, because that money was there to be spent. So, you know, it was difficult, and it wasn't his fault that he cost that much. And we're going to see another change for Barca. And King Arthur about to come on.
Arturo Vidal waiting with that distinctive Mohican haircut, interviewed recently and stated that the favourite things that he likes to do are among being at home with his family and going out to restaurants to eat. Playing with his son as well, as we see a replay here. Dembele's ball into Luis Suarez. I'm just wondering here, Miramon just get a touch there. He does, just to straighten up the pass. And yeah, looking at it through the eyes of Dembele, thanks to the wonders of modern technology, in off the far post. And there is the change, and it is Ivan Rakitic who goes off, and a loud cheer goes up as Arturo Vidal enters the fray. And there's also going to be a change, and I said it earlier, but now he is being given his opportunity. It is Cucho Hernandez who comes off, and it is Chimi Avila who comes on. And he will be full of confidence. He's got around 19 minutes to get himself into the game.
And you can see here, Lucas, how Huesca are playing more of a five at the back, trying to be slightly more defensive, stop all these goals from going in.
Yeah, there's definitely been a position change. Certainly Pulido has pulled out wide right, with Semedo slotting into the middle. Barca have themselves a throw, and there is the third substitute for Barca about to come on. We've had Arturo Vidal, now we're going to have Artur. Rather than the English pronunciation, Arthur. Having heard the Brazilian midfielder interviewed, he certainly does pronounce it Artur. Coutinho slipped, recovers possession under little pressure. Alba into Luis Suarez. Alba himself slips. Maybe they overwatered the pitch at half-time here, as a rare mistake there. Sergio Busquets out-muscled. And going for goal himself, Chimi Avila. As I said, he is full of confidence after that goal in San Mamés.
Yeah.
Maybe overconfident with that one.
Well, if I'd have scored that goal at San Mamés, I'd be taking a shot every single time I got the ball. It was just a stunning strike in the 87th minute, just before the final whistle. Rescued a point for his team, and it's one of those goals that kind of defies almost physics. It kind of defies gravity and balance, everything. The way he flicked the ball up on the turn and then caught it so well with his left boot and sent it straight into the top corner. Just magic.
Well, they've scored 2 goals away for the third consecutive game, have Huesca. It'll be very interesting to see how they perform once their Alcoraz Stadium is open for business after all the refurbishments following their promotion up to the top flight. I've got to say, away from home, 6 away goals in your opening 3 games is not to be sniffed at, admittedly.
No, promising, very promising.
No, most certainly. I was going to say, of course, they only conceded 3 in their previous 2 games. They've tripled that tally now. Just had to do the maths on that one. The ball goes forward, and Semedo may have heard the shout from his keeper, decided not to take any chances and sends it back down into the channel. Clement Longley calmly clearing the ball back. Got a bit on that, didn't he, there, Longley? Really fizzed it back to Ter Stegen, but so good technically is the German goalkeeper that he was able to just pull it down. Dembélé with a loose touch, intercepted. Musto picks it up. Arturo Vidal puts the challenge in. I thought they were going to release the pass down the far side. Well blocked out though, good defensive positioning. Now here is Dembélé as Sergio Roberto on the overlap. Instead comes inside to Arturo Vidal. Messi. Of course, all the newcomers to Barca, Vidal and Artur, having to kind of adopt to the Barca way, the short passing, the patient, progressive build-up with the sudden injection of pace when required.
I think the good thing for Arturo Vidal is that he played under Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich, and he was a key player as well for Pep.
One has to wonder if Mr. Manuela Montero up in the VAR booth will be asked to have a quick look at that. Indeed he will. I was saying in the first half, Duncan, that every time the referee is called across to look at the screen, he reverses the decision he's made on the field. So if we suddenly see him outlining the box, then maybe a penalty will be awarded. Let's have a look. It looks 50-50 to me. No, he was trying to squeeze his way around on that occasion. It is Sergio Busquets who will go off, and it will be Artur who comes on.
Been really impressed with Artur. Every time I've seen him, watched him a little bit in the pre-season as well, looks so confident on the ball, got a little bit of the Chavis about him, in that he's one of those players that always wants the ball, always wants it, just a touch here, there, just wants to be on the ball at all times, and I think that's very positive for Barca. He's going to slot into their system easily. I think he's a great signing, a great player for the future, and definitely a footballer that already has that Barca DNA, but at this club he's going to become better and better.
Huesca pick up the ball in midfield with Moy Gomez. Turns it infield but gives it away. Flick from Luis Suarez finds Coutinho. He goes back inside and runs into traffic. Luis Suarez comes away with it. Semedo with the challenge. And the referee deciding that the tackle on the Uruguayan striker was illegal in footballing terms. So a free kick will indeed be given. Messi perhaps trying for his hat-trick.
Yeah, I think it will be Leo Messi for the hat-trick, and I think probably Huesca are not enjoying this second half quite as much as they were enjoying the first, and now desperate for that full-time whistle to go. And they've still got 15 minutes. They're going to be 15 very long minutes for this Huesca side. They really enjoyed the first half, especially the first few minutes.
And it may be a cliche now, of course, for many teams who come here to say this, or talking about many teams that have come here, but it really is a huge field at Camp Nou, and Huesca put in all their effort into that opening 45 minutes, and maybe just covering the space that they've had to in this game is beginning to take its toll towards the end of the encounter.
And Barca have improved. It's worth pointing out that they've been much better in this second half, and they really have got a grip of the game, which is what they needed to do.
Here is Messi. Luis Suarez also over it. Messi just clips it up and over, and just wide. A big ooh from the crowd, but it's past the right hand upright and wide.
Well, from where we're sitting, I was waiting for the net to bulge. Have to say, the angle we watched that from, as you can see, from Messi's point of view, he would have known that was going wide. The goalkeeper wasn't sure. You could see him scrambling and diving across his line, Axel Werner, but it was a good half a yard wide of the far post.
Just as you said in the first half, Werner does get across very quickly, but he does leave perhaps just that half metre with the dive, as all goalkeepers would do, of course. And Messi trying to pick out that top corner. Dembele there displaying more technical ability with that piece of control. Now here's Luis Senior. I said he was trying to set off on an ambitious run before. He's off on one now. That's a very good pullback. Can they build on it? Comes all the way across to the new right back, Pulido. Moved out wide from the centre of the defence, and he's looking like he's still enjoying himself, even if not all the Huesca players are. But just look how easily Barca do deal with that. We don't give them always enough credit for their defensive work. It's all about the attack. Here is Coutinho looking to step in, and we're trying to reverse it back to Luis Suarez. Now 5 Barca players caught in the Huesca area. The away side can move upfield here. It could be 5 on 5, but they just slow it down across the midfield. And in the end, I was going to say give the ball away, but Mr. Melero sounding his whistle, spotted the foul. So Huesca, as the statistics show there, 2 goals, 2 attempts. Yeah, there it is. Almost nonchalant, wasn't it?
Completely. That's the word. And just the confidence that he was going to do exactly what he had in his head. There was absolutely no way that ball was getting away from him. It was incredible, almost like Velcro.
Got to say, we've seen Huesca line up with 2 banks of 4. Slightly stretching now as they've moved back, Huesca, but when they had the ball midway inside the Barca half, Barca had 8 players back behind the ball. No strangers to knowing how to defend, as I said. The vital tackles and just nullifying, as Clement Longley does there, taking advantage of hesitancy in the opposition attack. On that occasion it was Jorge Miramon caught in possession. The long ball forward controlled by Semedo.
I think Longley's another really good signing, and definitely an upgrade on Yerry Mina. Take nothing away from Yerry Mina, it's not a criticism, but he's a lot younger and got more to learn. It was his first season in Europe. Showed at times that he got a little bit nervous on the ball. Longley completely the opposite. He's had time to adapt to this division at Sevilla, and he's just got so much composure. He's another classic Barca player, great Barca signing. I think he's going to be really good at the club as well, and he might not find himself in the starting 11 too often. When you've got the likes of Piqué and Samuel Umtiti in front of you, it's difficult, but he's a very, very reliable substitute.
Wonderful skills there, not just from Arturo Vidal, but also from Dembele. There's the pullback, Messi into Vidal. Messi will retrieve the situation, plays it through, onside, Jordi Alba! Onside, and 7 for Barca. Alba running through late, the pass again splitting the Huesca defence, and I've got to say, full credit to Barca. I was about to praise Huesca for still pressing forward at the other end, but you have to say at some point, when does it become foolhardy to continue with this tactic of trying to add to your tally? You're going to head back now to Aragon, and whether confidence will take a hit after a 7-goal mauling like this.
I suppose the key is that Leo Franco's got to make sure it doesn't. Clever from Suarez, he knew he was offside, didn't even chase the ball, so would have known that Jordi Alba was on the overlap. And there's a celebration here from Jordi Alba. I didn't see exactly what it was, but there you go. Directed at Luis Enrique, maybe? I'm not too sure.
And there's someone who's still a fan of Jordi Alba, nonetheless, asking a former Valencia man for his shirt. So Huesca with 8 minutes of the 90 remaining. We're 3-2 down at half-time. What a second half from Barca. Clinical in front of goal. They've gone on to add 4 more to their tally in the second 45 minutes. 7-2. They lost 8-1 here last time they came here, and their only ever official game prior to this evening.
In the Copa del Rey.
It certainly was. On that night, Pedro, as I mentioned, got a hat-trick. Sergio Roberto actually scored in that game. Iniesta, Adriano, Adama Traore and Sandro. The only players remaining at the squad from that game for Barca, that is Ter Stegen in goal. He was on the bench that night. Rafinha, Sergio Roberto, Samper and Munir. And the only player still in the Huesca squad from that game, he played in the first leg, is the veteran campaigner Juanjo Camacho. Here is Longley on the left for Barca, calmly into the feet of Coutinho. Continues the run, strong tackle from Pulido, knocks it out for a throw-in. So as I said, the confidence will be knocked, maybe not. Of course, Alaves came here on the opening day. They didn't really offer too much going forward and ended up losing 3-0. They didn't concede until the 63rd minute, but given the fact that goal difference doesn't count in the Spanish league, and it's highly unlikely Huesca and Barca will be vying for the same place in the table to bring in the head-to-head results.
I think we can say impossible, Lucas.
I think we probably can. So therefore, going down 7-2 in the Spanish top flight equates to a 1-0 to all intents and purposes. It's all to do with how the team reacts after a result like this.
Well, the only thing to add to that is that if Huesca, for example, are trying to avoid the drop and they're head-to-head with another team, trying to avoid the drop is exactly the same, then it does go to goal scored and goal difference and then goal scored. So it could affect them, but you know, at this stage of the season, they're not worrying about the amount of goals they're conceding. They're worrying about the amount of points they're picking up, and they've taken 4 from their opening 2 games. It'll be 4 from their opening 3 games, okay, but still a pretty decent start from this Huesca side, who are in new territory in La Liga for the first time in their history.
And it should be noted, of course, 4 points from 3 away games when they have all these return fixtures, and they're in Alcoraz. We'll have to see how this adventurous style that Leo Franco is quite clearly adopting helps the team in front of their own supporters. As it is, they're trying to keep the scoreline down as Alba goes into the area again, nudged away by Pulido, just not able to get on the end of that. And it runs through to a very grateful Axel Werner.
Well, they've been much more like themselves in this second half, Barca, much more like the side we've come to know under Ernesto Valverde, and epitomised by this last 5 minutes. They're 7-2 up and they're still going for more goals. They're still pushing high every time Huesca have got the ball. The high press is there. They're trying to nick it back. That's the Barca we've seen under Valverde, and that just wasn't the case in the first half. For whatever reason, they were poor in the first 45 minutes, Football Club Barcelona. Much better, though, in this second half.
I do wonder if, as I said, there was a touch of the fact of
maybe
the players thinking, well, it's only Huesca.
Yeah.
I wouldn't question their professionalism, but across all levels of football, when you're playing a team who are considered to be so many levels lower, you really do have to find the fight and spirit to play at your normal level. Here's Jordi Alba showing plenty of fight and spirit. He's knocked over, referee waves play on. Arturo Vidal with a shot. Messi feeding it into him. Alba none too happy with the challenge. Words, and Damian Musto picks up a yellow card for the challenge. The 31-year-old on loan at Huesca from Mexican side Tijuana. Spent the majority of his career in his native Argentina, one spell in Italy with Spezia. And there it is, a real block tackle.
Yeah, no, clearly a foul. Jordi Alba didn't like it. The referee played advantage, quite rightly. Alba not liking the fact that Musto was trying to stop him from going to remonstrate with the referee, but Musto quite rightly shown the yellow card and booked for that professional foul. It was a clear block on the Barca left back. And we've talked a lot about the fact that Jordi Alba wasn't included in the squad. It's also impactful when you look at the Spain squad picked by former Barca manager Luis Enrique, of course. So there's only 2 Barca players. Sergi Roberto, who wasn't taken to the World Cup by Lopetegui, and Sergio Busquets, who of course you expect to be there. But it's been a good number of years that there hasn't been more Barca players in the squad. Obviously, the team that won that incredible treble of European Championships and the World Cup in the middle was essentially the Barca side with 4 or 5 Real Madrid players. You know, you had that real Barca core of Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol, Piqué, Pedro as well.
No, most certainly, of course, Gerard Piqué announcing after the World Cup finals he's retired from international football. And as you say, the pool of options for Luis Enrique at Barca now is quite a small one.
David Villa as well to add to the Barca players in that Spain team.
I think Victor Valdez might have been involved at some point.
Victor Valdez was involved, yep. And the one thing we should add, the positive is that Sergi Roberto, positive for Barca, is that Sergi Roberto is back in the team, and not only is he back, but Luis Enrique said that he was going to play a key role. He was a player that Luis Enrique trusted when he was Barca manager, played him at right back, and he actually said that he's in the squad, Sergi Roberto, as a midfielder. Will he be used at right back? Maybe he will be at some stage if he's needed, but he's there on his merits as a midfielder. So that'll be interesting to see if Sergio Roberto plays midfield for the national team.
Certainly will. Here come Barca again. Messi trying to just flick it through. Dembele in space, lifts it up into the middle. The fall to Coutinho. Arturo Vidal did well not to touch that. He would have been offside, I suspect. Artur rolls it across, and the ball will come into the area once again. And Arturo Vidal and Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez, rather, in the Uruguayan pronunciation, heading back across goal, off target on that occasion. May not have been expecting that, of course.
What a shame. That would have been some goal. I'm not for a second suggesting that this overhead kick from Arturo Vidal was meant for Luis Suarez. I think it was probably a shot from a Chile international.
I think he was trying to introduce himself to Camp Nou in a spectacular way. May well have claimed in the press conference afterwards, of course, he was trying to pick out Luis Suarez, but as it is, the header from the former Ajax and Liverpool man flew off his head and wide of the mark. Header forward, Huesca. Got to say credit to them. They are still, whenever they get on the ball, getting numbers into the Barca half and trying to find their way to a third goal, but just hanging on to it for too long. That was Melero being called in possession. There's a challenge. That was the ball being played. No foul once again, said the referee. And here you can see, we mentioned earlier that pace with which Huesca got forward. There's some tired legs out there now. There's a neat 1-2. Looking to deliver it back in from the far side. Keeper stays at home. Comfortably dealt with. One thing that Huesca can benefit from, they tried a couple of long balls and want the central defenders to knock it down. Barca don't do that. Their players are so skilled on the ball. But playing for the second ball doesn't really work. And there's a challenge, and the linesman has a very good long look at it. I think the referee's given a penalty here.
He has. Yeah, and I think it's the right decision. And Suarez knew there was a second where You thought that ball from Gerard Piqué, who, by the way, once again had joined the attack, he was desperate for his goal, and I'm sure he went over to Luis Suarez and was like, any chance I can take that one? Messi, of course, on his hat-trick, and there ain't no one that's going to take the ball away from Leo Messi, or maybe there is. It's going to be Suarez. Interesting. Anyway, the ball was played forward by Piqué, and there's a moment where you think Piqué's overhit this, and you can just see Suarez's mind go, I'm going to get there ahead of this goalkeeper, and he knows he's going to get there first. Outslides the goalkeeper, Axel Werner. He catches Suarez. It's clever from Luis Suarez because he's going absolutely nowhere, but he knows he's got a chance to win a penalty, and he knows he's got a chance to score his second goal of the season.
And I've got to say, we've only needed one replay. Obviously, the video assistant referee and the team up there would have had various views of it, but from the one view we just saw, Werner got nothing of the ball. I've got to say, very interesting for Messi to give up a hat-trick here. I know he's a great friend of Luis Suarez, but for the record books and the amount of hat-tricks scored in La Liga Santander, he's giving this one to his good friend who hadn't scored before today. This could be his second of the season. And indeed it is. Axel Werner dives to his right. Luis Suarez steers it in the opposite direction. They conceded 8 last time they came here. Huesca in the Copa del Rey as a second division side, and they have conceded 8 again here today. What a second half display in front of goal from Football Club Barcelona. 93rd minute of the game, and there you can see Messi just saying, no, you can have that. I've got my goals for the evening.
It's a really well taken penalty kick. Just slides it into the corner, sends the goalkeeper Axel Werner completely the wrong way.
No, he certainly did. Calm from Luis Suarez, so that'll do his confidence no end of good, but look at that scoreline.
Well, it was always a possibility when they came out of the traps like they did, Huesca. There was always a possibility that they were going to ship a lot of goals, and that's exactly what they've done. 8 they've conceded here at the Camp Nou.
So a wonderful second half performance from Barca. 5 goals in the second 45 minutes. Dembele, Rakitic, Messi, Alba and Luis Suarez all adding to first half goals. An own goal in amongst it from Pulido. Cucho, Hernandez and Gaillard scoring for the La Liga newcomers, but it's ended in a huge winning margin for the Catalan side. Final score here in Camp Nou, Football Club Barcelona 8, Huesca 2.
How was Spain? They go crazy for football, and you know what? It's totally contagious. When you watch a match, you become one of them. Can't be football. That's got to be something else.
Sony Live, we live to entertain. 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 Sony Live, we live to entertain.